Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box for the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Saturday, the 15th of October. This is the weekend webinar. Another eventful week in the markets, particularly Thursday and Friday's action, where we saw a plunge, a big reversal, and then another pop and drop hard to close near the lows for the day on Friday, and putting everything in doubt in terms of whether or not we're anywhere near a bottom at this point. But we'll see. We'll see. At this point, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline and a reversal, and sometimes they'll do a retest. So we're going to watch carefully to see how the market opens, whether we plunge or not. If we do, and we take out the low, which was 34.91 roughly. Underneath that, we could see 33.75 in that area where there is a juxtaposition of 3 different trend lines. So I think that could be an important point if the lows get taken out. But I'd also watch carefully is the high of 37.12 that was reached Friday, and then 38.06. Those are numbers to keep an eye on going forward as resistance. Note also that the looks like the 21-day moving average, which it was 37.17. We came within 5 points of it and backed off. So getting above that is important because that could turn things. Nasdaq 100. Similar action, of course, 5 waves down, made a lower low, reversed off of 10,440, and then ran right up to the 10-day moving average and backed off. Not as big a pullback as the S&P 500, but still enough to get a 341-point loss of 3% on Friday alone. Until this trend line is taken out, the trend is still down. Where's the possibilities? Well, obviously NASDAQ can still plunge into that zone anywhere between 9,150 to 9,600. I don't know. First, we got to take out the low before we get to that point. Still, in looking at the overall scope of things from the high, it's 16,764 in November. And it's almost a year now. It's 11 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, but is a 5th wave it going to extend, or is this a 5th of a 5th? And suddenly things will reverse Monday, Tuesday. I'm not sure it's likely. I think this is a very tough time of year. There's also a lot of other factors financially, worldwide as well as domestic, and so we have to be awfully careful and trade what you see, not what you think. And it doesn't matter what you and I think; it matters what the market tells us is going on. So that's the Nasdaq 100 as well. Now the small cap index, you see the big reversal Thursday. WM popping from 162 to 172, 10 points, extending to 174.5, right to the trend line, and then reversing hard. Now it's not an engulfing reversal, but nevertheless painful looking to me until I see this area and 176 taken out. This is still in a downtrend. Transportations, well, very similar action. Multiple waves down near the bottom of the channel and then a pop. But what this has done now is form a wedge. Now it's possible it's a basing pattern, but when I look at this pattern, I see the possibilities of a further breakdown towards 11,000. Currently at 12.5. It's 1,500 points or another 10-12%. I don't know if that occurs necessarily, and I'll be watching for the possibilities of a move back over 12.9. But markets are precarious right here, no question. Let's look at the underlying indicators. The McClellan oscillator, which spiked up towards 100, got up to 92.85, finished at minus 45. That's a hell of an intraday reversal. Take a look at that. You don't see that too often. Coming off slightly overbought towards the neutral. So we're not oversold. That means we could plunge down a little bit more, particularly if the VIX spikes into the 40s. Right now, this is the pattern. It's been in an uptrend since the market's been in a downtrend, but it hasn't really spiked yet, like it did several times. Here, spike, 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 spike. It's kind of a steady move up, followed by what could be a spike into the mid 40s. So if the market does roll over and we get slam dunked, I'm still looking for the possibilities. I'm going to throw the baby out with the bathwater selling climax and one more wave down. That would be A VIX near low to mid 40s at least. A tick minus 1700 for intraday intensity. And it's all overbought oscillators like the McClellan reaching down in the 250, 300 range, which we're nowhere near. You can see where it is. So we'd have to plunge down in there, or at least, minus 275, 85 for me to say, wow, it's looks like a buying opportunity. The trend is in doubt. I also read Merriman's stuff this weekend. It was elucidating to me. Okay, we got a lot of longs and shorts to go over, but before we do that, let's get to some underlying indicator. Well, we did underlying indicators. Sorry, I want to talk about the Nasdaq 100 leaders and a few ETFs. When you look at the leader Apple, you'll see what's going on here. Apple's been in a distinct downtrend since August 17th when it reached 176 on Thursday's low, 134 and change. So 176 to 134, 42 points on Apple, that's a big number. And then the reversal off the top of the channel to close down 491 to 3.4% Friday. Going forward, watch 134, and then your next target is 130. If the market gets crushed, I would look for low 120s. No more than that, ideally. Amazon does not look good. It's right on the precipice. That reversal bar wasn't very pretty. And you can look at the hourly chart and you see the down channel. Even though it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it may end up with a climax down there 100. Or potentially to retest these lows back in, that comes down about 102 and change. You take out 102, we could really, slam dunk this stock. Google also bounced off a low on Thursday and then reversed hard off the declining top line and moving average. Take out 95, you're probably headed to 90 or even 87, 88. Microsoft in a distinct down channel as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. A big reversal on Thursday. 219 and 236, only to come right back down at 228 and close there on Friday. This one actually looks better than most in that it's a V bottom with a little bit of a pullback after a spike up. But until Microsoft gets over 243 and then takes out to 248.50, we're still in the downtrend, although it is 5 waves down. Okay, looking at NVIDIA, certainly a reversal followed by a pullback again. So the jury's still out as to whether or not these are meaningful reversals because of the pullback on Friday. If NVIDIA takes out 122 and starts to move up, your next target is 137. But for now, being in and also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down at the bottom of the channel. No wonder it bounced, and it bounced with good volume too. We'll just have to see if the market has any semblance of support in these zones for these stocks. Netflix, one of the stronger Nasdaq 100 components, and what I'm hearing and reading is a lot of institutions like their story and like the fact that it's been washed out from 700 down to 150. So you can see how well it's held versus the other stocks that got hammered. But anything under 211 and 3/4, 211 and a half or so might be a trend changer back down to retest the 165.70 range. Careful with that one. Meta, that's a disaster. It's as ugly as it gets. 365 down to 126, and it doesn't look very good, does it? Now, this is going to have to show me it can reverse. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, quite frankly. And finally, Tesla's been really ugly ever since Musk got real about buying Twitter. Wall Street does not like it, period. 313 to 204, losing 109 points in the last 4 or 5 weeks. with the bearish engulfing bar on Friday augurs well for maybe 181 to 175 zone. I don't know if that occurs, but that's your target, folks. And it comes in at a 1, 2, 3, 4, bottom of a fifth wave. So you may see, if anyone's short Tesla or have puts on it, that look to get this down in the 175, 85 range for starters. So that was a look at, let's look at the big ETFs that I follow. The SMH, well, big reversal on Thursday, another pullback on Friday, and until I see the SMH over 184 with energy, we're still in a downtrend, unfortunately, and it's pretty ugly. But it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline, in my opinion. Now, looking at the angle of descent, a plunge in the market could get this down to 155, 57. That's 10% more. The financials, nice day on Thursday, excuse me, Friday would they pull back a little bit, but they reported, several of the banks reported very, very good earnings, except for, I think it was Morgan Stanley. Until the FAS gets above 65.5, I'm going to say it's still in a downtrend. But support at 50 and a target of 45 if it plunges. And of course, biotechs, which I love to trade, have really had a negative day on Friday for me because the 3 positive days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday's reversal to the downside off of the trend line, no less, has me worried or concerned that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and that the fifth wave down could implode. Now, if you take a look at some of the stocks I'm going to show you today in the biotech sector, they've been phenomenal in a lousy market, as good a trends as you're going to see. So I want to point out that, in my opinion, and my experience with 55, 60 years of trading and seeing 3 or 4 bear markets of some length, that at the tail end of every bear phase, fifth wave or bear market decline, or at least an intermediate decline, if this is the beginning of something much worse, which it can be. But at the tail end of every large phase, the stocks that have held up the best will start to cave. So biotechs could be in store for a quick hit and a reversal. Keep an eye on XPI. And my favorite trading vehicle has turned quite sour on me on Friday. Very, very disappointed with the 3-day base and the pop, only to see that LABU go from 758 to 642 and close a nickel off the low. So for me, in danger of a breakdown under 6 and run all the way down to 5 or less, potentially could happen. Be very careful going forward with LABU and XBI and the semiconductors, of course. Financials, they're all those 3 in particular. Now, I follow obviously oil, and the USO reversed from 73 to 70, and you can see after running up to the trend line, massive head and shoulder pattern broke down, and then that snapped back. But right now it's coming down again, and if this should break down under 68, we might see a plunge towards 60, 61 on the USO. I'm not so sure, even with production cuts, that oil is going to stay higher. It's about the supply and demand, folks. Gold, well, all you got to look is at the GDX and the NUGT, both of which ran up the trend lines and rolled over. They're still in massive downtrends. No reason to own gold, period. Not yet. Or silver, AGQ, even worse. So I would stay away from precious metals until I see reason to. And I personally think that oil is dangerous as well. Keeping that in mind, we can keep an eye on SCO, a bear for oil, which bounced nicely last week, but that has to hold 24. There's your platform with a little V bottom potential. We'll see if we can get it above 26, get it going with targets of 28 and 31. And that natural gas, well, KOLD is improving. That's because nat gas is coming down. Take a look at the rally since the 23rd of August, when that hit down to around 9 and made it up to 19 3/4, more than doubling, and now coiling. The moving averages are crossed over and are curling up. Very bullish indication for that cold's going higher, and I'm looking for 25, folks. Maybe a good swing. I hate swinging ETFs for commodities, but there you go. Let's move on to some stocks. We have a lot to look at. We'll start off, and again, a bunch of them are biotechs. ABOS broke out of a base, exploded, and has a beautiful falling wedge as volume dissipates with good technicals. Keep an eye, put it on your watch list. I'm a believer that this is $11 to $12 stock in the next few weeks if the market cooperates. On the downside, your support is right there, about 7. AEHR, 2 big pops in the last 6 sessions. 1 up, 3 down, 1 sharp one up, and another one down. It's hard to call because it's still in a long consolidation of the big run-up it had, but it's still an ongoing swing unless it breaks down under 1340. On the upside, a move over 18 with volume, we could trigger a more extensive move. AKRO, yet another biotech with a base breakaway pop and coil. And when I see that, I'm usually giving you a swing. I don't believe I did on this one, but take a look. Pop, little pivot, and from the 25 range, exploded to 40 nearly. 15 points right there. Now it's flagging again. I think it has more to go. $50 target. ALVR, been a beautiful uptrend. It's another biotech since it double bottomed in May and June, around the 3.25 range, and made it and tripled to tag 989. Now it's consolidating, but I like that overall look. If it gets to that level, we might see low to mid-teens. AMLX, breakaway gap, running gap, coil breakout. It's having a difficult time, but it's holding up really well. Look at this one. This is new all-time high on Friday, ever. 35.90. My target, 42. AMPS in the independent power utility, inverse head and shoulder breakout, and now a pullback to the trend line. Bounce off of that. Key support at 945.50. Resistance around 12. That's your target. Beyond that, mid-teens. In the oil sector, APA had a tough day on Friday, down 232, but it's popped up and pulled back. Now, for me, if it holds here, particularly if it holds 39, you can see it move up into the high 40s, depending on what oil does. But I'm of the opinion it may break, and if it breaks under 39, you may start to see 36, 35, etc., or worse. ARRY in the solar sector with a beautiful inverse head and shoulder breakaway gap and a beautiful run up to the target has pulled back in a very orderly decline, but it's broken its trend line, it's broken its moving averages, which are crossing over. Be very careful with this one until and if it runs back over 18.75 with volume. ASAN broke down last week, and so it's no longer a swing, but I like the overall base pattern it's retesting here. My problem is it looked like it was going to break out. I anticipated, which is something I warned you guys never to do, and I did it, and I paid the price. Aveo, yet another junior biotech looking great. I put a swing on it last week, only because relative strength, phenomenal. Where can I go to? Well, I don't know if it spikes up into the 17, 18 range, but let's say right now I'm looking for around 11, 996 less. The XSM was a beautiful swing for us from here. It ran up to 2 targets and they got slam dunked. Keep an eye on it. I need it back over 49 with energy. We'll see if that occurs. BEAT, heart beam, pop wedge, pop mini wedge, and then another pop, and look at this, orderly retrace. Now, obviously, anything that's had this much of a percentage move is always vulnerable. I have to put a stop under 360, but if it continues up higher, we got a target near $10. First, obviously, you got to take out 6.5. Bluebird Bio, inverse head and shoulder breakout. We put a swing on it, ran to the target, backed off. It ran up again and backed off. Friday was not a good day for it. It was down 5%, but it's consolidating. It's got a beautiful rising channel. One of the strong biotech, a member of that biotech group that's pretty strong. BTU, well, we've been trading this for years, and from the November 2020 lows under $1. Under $1, believe it or not. The stock went all the way up to 33. Now, because of a run like that, we've got a multiple month, 6 month sideways consolidation, something to watch in case it pops above 29 with volume. Then the target's at 34 and 40. You know, we got lucky on this one. I put out a swing on it. I believe it was there. It backed off for one day, and then it got potentially in takeover talks. We'll see what happens with this one, whether it actually gets taken out. But I'm looking for 12 and a half. Seco Environmental, what a nice reversal off the low, right-handed extended V and then breakout. Runs up and coils and breaks out, or at least it wants to. It looks like it wants to. Keep an eye on this one, and usually strong chart pattern right on the trend line in wave 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, if we're going to get a fifth wave, my targets are mid channel 12 and upper channel 15 plus. CEIX, one of the strongest coal stocks out there. Look at that run the last few years. Under 4 to over 80. I'm wrong, 79 and change. Still, 20-fold increase, followed by an orderly retrace and bounce off support, and now this. Keep an eye on it. It was down almost 3 points on Friday, so it's dangerous for a pullback to lower levels. But overall, market cooperating, retest 79 and go to 90. Biotech related cell acuity, long downtrend, dropping it from the mid 30s down to under 5. V bottom platform, and it's moved up and flagging in here. Keep an eye on this one. We got a target of 13. COMN explodes, pulls back, pops again, it pulls back. Overall, interesting chart pattern. Looks to me like possible new trend beginning. Of course, it's fighting a lousy market, but look where it's come from. I think the stock has possibilities. I would look for 16 and 21 eventually if the market cooperates. And it looks like it's beginning a new uptrend. This is why I'm showing it to you. Certainly the breakout there and the retest there of the prior high, and now a wedge forming. Another biotech Corcept breaks out, pulls back, and then breaks out again. Look at the way this acted Thursday, Friday. Target would be 30. And beyond that, we're looking for the mid-30s. Kupang broke down last week after we gave it a good swing from there to there. Came down and popped again, double topped and came down hard. 100% stop under 1590. Cprx, another biotech that ran hard. How about 6 to almost 18 triple? 1722. Coil forming. Easy stop under here. Say under 11 and a half. But if it pops, 16, 18, 20 might maybe had. DCGO. How about a pop? Beautiful coil, another flag, and then a breakout. How about an engulfing reversal bar on Friday in the midst of a lousy market? Very interesting stuff. Keep an eye on .go, targeting 12, and then 14. DYN, yet another biotech with a big downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. Then a reversal with a 1, 2, 3, 4 wedge. I think a fifth wave may be coming. And if we do, retesting a high at 15 and a half would be important. Take that out and you're up 20. Alpha on the shelf, ELF Beauty, what a pop. Breakout there and a rising channel. And you can see that the rising channel has resistance right near the 41 range. Targets at 44 and 49. EPOW, exploded, imploded, exploded, and then pulled back, and now it's coiling right near the apex. Looking for a move above 360 with any kind of volume could trigger a spike up into the 4.5 and 6 range. ESPR, another biotech with a wonderful chart. The angle of the sun shows this is a $10 stock potentially, but it's going to have to take out the double top at 845.50 first. FGEN, Fibrogen, another biotech with a great chart. You can see why I'm bullish in the midst of this bear phase, how strong biotechs are acting. Support, resistance. So we're at resistance. You may see a pullback, but That's the base, and we're breaking out of it and have a lot of room to run. This is a formerly $55, $60 stock that has room to run. FNGR, I'm going to caution everybody. I know the people behind this stock and GTII and Peggy. Those three stocks have massive runs, and I warned everybody they're very vulnerable to steep pullbacks. On Friday alone, FNGR went from 944 to 611. Peggy, which ran from some 75 cents to $7.50 tenfold, had a reversal, engulfing reversal day on Friday, losing 15.7%. GTII broke out of a wedge to the downside and lost 20%. And this had a steep run. I would avoid them until we see whether they get washed out, retested, etc. They are very vulnerable stocks, folks. For EY, disappointingly, but it did. We did get a nice swing on it to my target. Double top there, however, and it's pulled down a support. Can't let it go any further than right where it is, roughly. Under 13 is a stop. Target 16.19. First Solar finally showing some crack in the armor. Closed under the 50. And right now, your key support is 120. Stop under that, perhaps even a short, down to 110 and 98. GLOP. Well, a lot of oil and gas stocks besides biotechs are also very strong. And this is near a triple top and potentially a breakout of a 3-year base, which could show this, get this into the 12 range. Targets are 9, 11, and 12. Hudson, boy, look how strong this has been for 2 years now. Literally from 30 cents, the stock made it up to 11 bucks. Almost 10.90, yeah, 11.16. It's pulled down support. I would not let it get under there. Stop under 660, but a move over 8.5 could get you back to 11, even more. HLIT, I'm not sure what's going on here, but this tech stock is making new multi-year, if not all-time highs. Now, this is the highest level in 22 years. When you see that, you got to pay attention. It was a negative reversal bar on Friday, but I would watch the stock for a move to 16 and 17.5 on momentum. HROW, this healthcare drug-related stock, I guess it is biotech too, popped and is wedging. Any move above 13.25, you might see 16. IFRX, V-bottom, right-hand extended platform, a sharp spike up. It's spinning 2 months now, consolidating. Very nice action considering the market. If it should pop out of here, we're looking at 3.5 and 5. IMRA, Imara, another biotech stock that exploded, coiled, then exploded again. On Friday in particular, jumping 42% at 39 million shares. I'm sorry, 47 million. So maybe some momentum here and possibly an extension to 5. IMUX explodes from 3 to 12. Literally 300% in a week and a half. This is something to be careful. It looks like a bearish engulfing bar on Friday. We'll see. If it consolidates and moves higher, great. And maybe we can make a move towards here and test that level at 15. Momentum wise. Here's another momentum play, IMBT in the biotech sector. Explodes and flags. If it goes, 11 and 13 targets. Yet another, IMBX, explodes and flags. Now, was it engulfing bearish bar on Friday? I'd be careful with this one because it may see lower levels, but overall chart pattern. V-bottom, 5-wave advance, 8.618 fib retracement, explosive move that doubled it. More than that, tripled it, 11 to 33. My target eventually is 47, market permitting. INMD popped on Thursday. I considered a swing, but I held off, and a good thing because even though it followed through on Friday to 36.27, it finished 33.06 in a negative reversal day. But let's see if there's any downside follow through. My targets are 38.5 and 43. IONS in the biotech sector, literally at 2-year highs, or near the highs up here. The target's 48.75 and then 53 if it goes. ISEE, another biotech, exploded, 0.375 fib retracement, runs up to the target. The prior highs, slightly new highs, backing and filling, ran up Thursday, pulled back Friday, but it's one to watch. Any market rally, this stock goes over 22, we're looking at 27.8. Yet another ISCC, this is aerospace defense. Spike wedge. That looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? Target 11. LASE. What a week. Monday's low at $1.82 and Friday's high at $5.35. Outstanding relative strength. Here's your hourly chart. It's coiling. Something to keep an eye on, but it has had 5 waves. Careful. Well, loco, several factors involved here. A buyback and a one-time big dividend. That could be why that's up. But I want to show you the long downtrend. And then the reversal with really nice action and volume. Mara, well, when Bitcoin rebounded in the June low, Mara went from 5.25, 528 range to 1888, more than tripling in a 5-wave advance. Here's a 1, 2, 3-wave corrective and a retest. Stop must be under 940.45. Your targets are 14.5 and 18.19. Biotech MCRB in a beautiful rising channel. No reason to not be bullish on this one. Key support is down around 5 3/4. The targets are 10. MODN, breakaway gap and a big one, and then a pullback to retest, a breakout point, and then a pop and a run to new highs. Near resistance though, but a beautiful bullish chart and a lousy market. This software stock, excellent relative strength. Keep an eye on it. MYOB in the biotech sector, they've been talking about it all year. Be bottom with a platform, pop, pullback, retest the moving averages and trend line, and then spike, resistance, flag, breakout, retest, breakaway gap, flag. It's beautiful, but it's had 5 waves. And there's some big resistance ahead at 27, that's your target. NARV explodes, falling wedge, and then pops right back again. Retesting the highs up here. Target, 18. Nutanix, possible takeover here. We put a swing on it. It worked out very well. We got lucky. Thursday's low, 1996. Friday's high, 26.52. I think if it is taken over, it'll probably be in the mid-30s. Maybe 30. Occidental in the oil group as strong as anything, but I'm going to need 72 plus for it to get going. If it does, target would be low 80s, low 90s. PACB popped on Friday, made a nominal new high above 717, got up to 729, and then reversed hard. So I got to be careful. I still like the overall look of the potential base being developed, but it needs to break now above 730. If it does, I got a target at 9. Perion, really good earnings. It exploded and pulled back, and now it's up 4 days in a row in a lousy market, something to consider. I'm hearing big numbers coming up on this stock in terms of not only earnings, but once it breaks out over the high 20s, I think you got a stock that could be mid to high 30s and even low to mid 40s or more. PLRX, another biotech with an explosive move in a rising channel. This is unaffected by the bear phase. Look at the way this acts. My target, 27.8. PRTA, another biotech with a major breakaway move on and then a follow through and pullback. I think the pullback is a buying op, and I think the eventual target is 80. Yet another is PRBB, prevention buy, breakaway gap, pullback, consolidation day Friday. Something to watch, targeting 8 and 9.5. Yet another PTCT, spike up flag, breakout, and a long 2-month consolidation. I don't think it's the top. I think it's a consolidation. If it goes, we're looking at low to mid 60s at least, I think. Rocket Farm, yet another bio with a nice 5-way move and a pullback. Held secondary support and bounced right back to the highs. Moving averages crossed over and we're flagging. Now it did come down, small amount on Friday, but look at this pattern and setup. This could be a swing. If it pops that number, we're looking low to mid 20s, if not higher. RETA with an explosive move last week. 21 and change to 30. 9 points straight up. There's some resistance right there. But I wanted to point out the major move on that one. Yet another RVPH. 53 cents to 310, and then a nice consolidation for, a couple months. From there, after holding the price support, 50-day moving average, it went 183 to Friday's high at 415. My target is 4 3/4, 5 range. Rhythm, yet another biotech that was a swing force and one of the better ones this year, went from about 4 3/4, 5 range and spiked into the high. Well, yeah, 27.68 was the high. It's been platforming for 2 months now. So obviously you want to stop under 20, but if it goes again, you can see a low to mid 30s. Sanmina, a very unusual tech stock to be doing this. And in my estimation, this is a 17-year high. So something big is up here, and I'm not sure if it's a takeover or what, but look at that rising channel in the face of a lousy market. You might see this extend into the high 50s. Saba broke out, pulled back the test. Need to hold the stop under 33.5, and then get over 40.5 to get it back into the mid to high 40s for starters. Seed, big day Thursday, spiked from 942 to 1130. Volume wasn't huge, but it was bigger than normal. And now you can see where resistance is. Get this one above 11 at 2030. You should test 12.5, and beyond that, we're looking at 14 or 15. SGML and the lithium group, probably the strongest stock, junior lithium stock. But this one, SGML, made another new high at 31.33 on Friday alone. This is a new all-time high. Pretty amazing stuff, considering a lot of the other lithium stocks are backing off here. This one is not. SLNG with a pop, pullback, wedge, and breakout. It's got a 4-day consolidation in here. Once this gets above 11 with energy, it can explode, targeting 13 and 15 3/4. SLBR, very volatile. A stock that went from under $1 to almost 3 3/4, 386 actually. And for the last 6, 7, 8 days, been consolidating in that zone. If it breaks out, you're looking at a $5 stock. On the downside, on the 240, out. SOUN, I wanted to show you Friday's action. It's breaking out of a base pattern, perhaps. It was up 60 cents or 18% on a day when the market was tanking. Pretty interesting stuff. Target 5. SRTS, love the way this is acting, at least in the last couple of 3 days. Overall, look at this chart. Fundamentally very strong technically, coming out of a 2-month falling wedge consolidation. My targets are 15 and 18. SSNT, exploding in the last 2.5 weeks, 225 to 438, doubling, and the follow-through target is 5. TERN in the biotech sector, pop flag, pop pullback from a wedge, and press the upside, targeting 10, but I'd have about 8, in between 8 and 10 targets. Keep an eye on turn. TH has been coiling for 3 months now after a big run, but it does look like 1, 2, 3, 4, doesn't it? Keep an eye on it for a pop, and if you do, you'll look at 15, 18, 22, all potential. Stop would be under, and don't get fooled. If it's under 11, you're out. TRMD, that's a powerhouse little junior oil and gas stock. I don't talk about it much, but it's been doing so well. I wanted to show you this angle of ascent and how strong it looks. If we break out of this wave 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we might see 30 or better. VERV was a good swing for us. Nailed it right there when it broke out of the channel. It went from 18, 19 zone into the 40s, and it's been pulling back for 6 weeks now. It's at the bottom of this pattern, so it's vulnerable to a much bigger decline. Be careful. Another junior oil and gas, Vista Oil and Gas, broke out a week and a half ago and pulled back. Pop Thursday, backed off Friday. I would say stop on at 10 3/4, but the targets might be 13 and 15. Biotech Verona exploded back in August, pulled back down in a 3-wave corrective, and bounced and pulled back again. Net, it's a nice pattern, but I need to see it pop. Key resistance 11 3/4. The new swing we put on Friday because of its breakout through a triple top is Wave, WVE. Take a look at why. The highest level achieved in more than a year, 52-week high. Breaking out in the midst of a falling market, always a sign of relative strength. I got a target now 7.5 and 9, something like that. Maybe as high as 10.5. Y10, similar to seed, popped on Friday, not a lot, but I wanted to show you the pattern. And if it does break out over 355, it could be a runner into the 6-7 zone. And finally, ZYXI pulled down on Friday on light volume. Overall, it's a beautiful rising channel. Your support 8.25, your resistance 10, your targets are 11, 13, and 15. Now look at some of the box of shorts that I have looked at, still have on my watch list. Look, folks, many of these box of short stocks have gotten hammered, so I've taken a lot of them off the table. But there's certain ones like Align Right, for example, Align Tech, sorry, that is just looking so negative that I just kept it on because there's no reason to cover your shorts, basically. So we break a topping pattern from the bear flag, a bear wedge, another bear flag, another long one, and look at this drift down, targeting 175 and 145.50. Wolf, been telling you all week that this stock looks like a head and shoulders top, and sure enough, it broke on Friday. After it broke Thursday, rebounded, and then broke Friday again. And Friday down 678 or 6.5%. My targets now are a gap fill of 92 and all the way down to 80 potentially. SITM, down goes Frazier, looking uglier and uglier, and right now about to break some key support, it appears. You could see 48.50 on this one. Dollar Tree, a tech trader swing short, dropped 444 or 3.1% on Friday. Still hasn't cracked, but I got to tell you, if you see this underneath 135, 134, you might see it plunge into the mid 120s, even down to 115.20. EL remains on my box of shorts list. You can see why. I have a target at 185. Trex continues to drift lower. If it breaks support, 35, 36 target. Ambarella continues to drop another 4 points Friday. You can see why this little mini head and shoulder top followed by a plunge and a bear flag had me interested on the short side. Bear flag, and then a retest of resistance and a hard rollover. I'm targeting mid to high 30s now. MED broke down from the bear flag. It kept stepping its way lower for almost a year. It doesn't look good. I don't see a bottom yet. My target, 100. SSTK, cracked. Bear flag, another large one. It keeps making lower lows. Next target is 45.6. Zoom, well, it just keeps looking ugly. Unless he gets above 79.5, 80, I'm now looking for 68. LNTH, breakdown, snapback, but it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look great today. Underlying technicals are not bad in this one. I'm going to take this off my list. It's just too strong to be a box of short. Overstock continues to drift lower. If Bitcoin goes down, this is going to be down in the, I think, mid-teens, folks. 15, 16. Novavax trying to push up off the low, coming off the bottom of the channel, but I don't know. You may want to consider covering over 26, but sorry, not 26, 22. Above 22, maybe it extends too much for us to be short. It's had a long drop. FVRR broke down from the little bear flag and a bear wedge, and just keeps going lower. It's cracking this whole platform. It may plunge into the mid-teens. Robert Half popped up nicely this week, but unless he gets above 85, I'm still going to stay short on it. Horizon may be breaking a bear coil. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, and now that. Now, it looked like a base, and it might be. But unless he gets over 70, is where I'd cover. And then it rolls over, we could see the stock plunge towards 50, 55 zone. CDNA remains in a downtrend. It has since it broke down from that little bear wedge, and I said put it on the short list. Since then, it's dropped 48 to 16, folks. My target now is 13. Garmin, little mini head and shoulder top, a rising wedge, and then another bear flag. Down goes Frazier, and it keeps going lower, tagging 78, losing 100 points in the last year. Pentair popped Thursday, pulled back, but if it doesn't hold and breaks out the low, 35 is your target. TTEC remains on my short list from 110 down to 41. It may bounce in here, but it looks very negative. Upwork, I should be changing to downwork. 1, 2, 3. Look at all the bear flags and wedges and large ones and lower levels on this. Targeting 12 and 8 3/4. And then we finish up with QDEL, which had a really negative breakdown here, a large wedge and a bear wedge there and a bear wedge there. And although it bounced nicely this week, I'd be careful because if it rolls over here, my target's 58 to 60. Let's look at those bucks or shorts as well as all the longs, the technical indicators. And that's it for this weekend. A dire time for the market, and we're going to have to be extremely cautious, careful, tight stops on the long side, and we'll be trading the ETF short ETFs as long as the market tells us to stay along those. For now, Monday should be extremely interesting and volatile, as well as Tuesday, I believe. Maybe a turning point, but it's hard to say. The market's got a lot of pressures on it. This is HP signing off, wishing you a wonderful rest of your weekend, and please review these a couple times so you have some ideas for next week. Bye, everybody.